Ted, I want you to just take a really big, deep breath. Close your eyes. You're in the Unity right now. You're in the Unity. What is the Unity? It's unclear.
You're looking at yourself in the Unity.
But you're looking at yourself in the Unity.
It's a lot like being in the electric chair.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome back to the Cyberpunk Gaming Podcast, episode 147. I'm your host, Jake Burke, and I'm joined as always by James St. Charles and Ted Libby. And I know what you're all thinking. Man, we've talked about Starfield 2 podcasts in a row. What are we going to start with? We're going to talk more Starfield! I think we've all beat it.
Probably the last of Starfield.
Yeah, this is the last year. Is it now? I think it's not.
Definitely not game of the year.
Not even the biggest game of the year.
I said the biggest game of the year.
Oh, biggest game of the year? Not even the biggest game of the year.
Not even the biggest game of the year. What's the biggest game of the year to you, James?
Tears of the Kingdom.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that or that Baldur's Gate game that people like.
Or Baldur's Gate, yeah.
You guys are both wrong. Hogwarts Legacy is the biggest download.
That's actually true.
It is the biggest game of the year.
It's the most
That came
sold.
out this year?
That came out this year, James.
Oh my god, this has been a crazy long year.
It's been a long ass fucking year. Yeah, that came out this year.
I need to think about my list. There's just too many games.
Too many games. We're going to do a top 80 list. All right.
Top 80, yeah.
No, but enough about all that stuff because it's the Cyberpunk Gaming Podcast, episode 147. Once a week, we Discord over 500 miles, talk about a gaming-related topic, what games we are playing. This week, we're going to kind of open it up with a very spoilery discussion of Starfield. Should we start there?
Heavy
spoilers.
Start there? Yeah. Okay.
Right
heavy duty Starfield spoilers. Skip ahead if you don't want to hear this.
Yeah, we'll put a time code in. James?
Yeah.
Get on that on the net, okay? All right. Ted, you've beaten it. I've beaten it. James has beaten it. We've all beaten Starfield. Yep. We've all gone through the Unity. Like you're going through currently right now.
Currently, yes. I'm still in the Unity. Yes.
Ted's still beating it.
I can't make my decision.
Yeah.
I want to know. We'll talk about beating it, but once you beat it, did you go explore what it had to offer afterwards?
Nope.
Interesting. I tried, but then my game crashed and I had to download a save from... Ted, you did not either.
Nope.
Yeah. So
we'll get into it.
The Unity, you put all the pieces together. The hunter and the farmer? Century? What's his name?
Farmer.
I don't know, something.
The hunter and the farmer.
The hunter and the something.
What is that?
The emissary.
Yeah,
the emissary.
The emissary.
The emissary.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yep.
I like the hunter and the farmer a lot better. That's the game I want to play.
Fable.
Who'd you side with?
I sided with the emissary because the hunter's a bad dude.
Yeah, the hunter's an ass.
He's clearly a bad dude. Ted sided with the hunter.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did emissary.
So,
I wonder how your ending was then.
Before we go to the very end, how cool is it going to NASA?
Very cool.
That was the highlight of the game for me.
I like the history of NASA.
Yeah, that was really cool.
I like how they kept bugging the guy where he was just like, "Hey, how are you figuring this all out?" Like,
I'm gonna tell you,
just coming to me.
I thought that was really cool. That was cool that he was a guy that used the Unity to like plot humanity's ascension to space. That was a very cool Bethesda-y kind of thing.
I was gonna say that felt very much like a Fallout, a great Fallout quest.
Yeah. Well, how cool! Yeah. They like built space travel too soon, so it burned up Earth's atmosphere, killed everything, and then they went to space. That's such a cool, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Very cool part.
Yep.
And so we all sided with one of these people, and you have to kill the emissary, Ted. If you side with the hunter, do you kill the emissary? You talk your way out of it?
Yes.
Okay.
I talked my way out of it.
Oh, you did?
I talked my way out of it too.
I did.
I didn't kill the hunter.
Yeah, well, so, and this will dig into my overall theme of the game here, but I was trying to level up persuasion.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, just as something to do.
How terrible is that persuasion minigame?
It's not great.
Okay.
It's better than what was before, but it's not great. But I was trying to level it up, so whenever I would come across like a dialogue option, I would take it and I would do it because I was leveling it up. Which means that I had a auto persuade stashed away. That when it come time to the end of the game, I was just like,
okay,
I'll just press that button, which is so I don't know. It's so silly that there's an auto persuade because it's literally like he's giving you this like ultimate proposition. He's like, all right, guy, fight to the death, and then boop.
Oh, well, hey, you convinced me.
Okay, yeah, I see your point of view now. Go ahead. And you're like, all right.
Yeah,
I did it to myself, to be fair, but it was there in the game, so I just took it. At that point, I really wanted to just go, not necessarily be done, but I wanted to see what was next.
Yeah. So you go through the Unity, you side with one of these people, you collect all the relics. Did you guys get a lot of the powers in this game? Because I only got 1 power or 2 powers, and I was like, I'm never doing that floating mini game again.
Correct.
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah.
I got like 3 or 4.
Okay.
And it's the same thing every single time.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like a little bit more, and it's just like not worth it. Like to find the temples, it's
right. That mini game. I mean, those temples are cool. Like, it's cinematic, I guess. But the mini game of like just float through the floaty thing before it disappears. That was bad.
The first time you guys did it, did you guys go, oh god, it's a Bethesda glitch. It's not registering that I'm going through these.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought.
My roommate who had done it previously was like, you should have got it by now. I think it's fucked.
Yeah.
And that was really annoying. The second time, which I think you have to do for a quest, the second time I did that, I did it. I poured it much faster. I poured it through the circle and was immediately gunned down. And then it respawned me in front of the temple, and I was like, I'm done for a bit. I'm good. I don't want to have to just sit there and float through.
I don't think I ever used the powers that I had.
Neither did I. I had the jump one, and I never used it.
Since we're talking spoilers, I guess there are a lot of powers that like just completely mitigate some of the things in the game. There's like a power for like unlimited oxygen.
Oh wow!
Just like no reason for stamina.
They should give you a good power in the beginning, so you realize that these are worth getting. Because the one that they give you that's like stop gravity or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like, when would I ever use this?
Yeah.
That's
weird. It's like close range. It's like
right.
If you're a long range person, it's dumb.
I think their intention was to go for like a Fusro Da, like a Skyrim.
Yeah,
and it flopped.
Yeah,
it totally flopped. I was like, okay, cool.
Literally, no. That's like when I went to this thing, so I was like, oh, these are the shouts. Okay, these are the equivalents. All right, and that's not what you want from a new universe game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, oh yeah. It was kind of pretty underwhelming. I immediately skipped all of that when I realized that you can kind of just power through to the end.
Yeah. So you got to the end. You went through the Unity.
Yes.
How'd you feel? What happens, Ted? What happens when you go through the Unity?
Well, okay, so let me, Jake, this is a question for you because you sided with the emissary. When you got to the final planet, describe to me what you encountered.
Like a big mine that I had to go through. And just fight a bunch of bad guys.
Who were the bad guys?
Starborn.
Starborn.
Okay. So you get there, you get to the final.
Is that what happened to you too? So you side with the hunter and you just do the exact same mission I did.
But so I sided with the hunter. You go to the lost temple, and it's like they're like, oh, there's this little throwaway line of like, oh, some Starborn convinced the Ecliptic to build a stronghold here.
Yeah.
But all the Ecliptic are already dead.
Oh,
and they never explained why.
I fought both.
We fought Ecliptic.
Okay, when I went through, all the Ecliptic were already dead. Every single one of them was murdered. I just walked up, and there were these prescribed Starborn points, where it was obvious, like, okay, now kill some Starborn. Yeah. Okay, here's a boss.
Okay, so it was a lot more epic than for Jake and I because it was like full scale battles.
It was a ton of
with Starborn and the Ecliptic.
I have no idea what I did differently in terms of my choices. When I showed up, every single Ecliptic soldier was dead.
You must have done some other quest way earlier that fucked over all the Ecliptic.
Not a clue.
Or it's the hunter.
Or it's just the hunter,
yeah. Not a clue. But they were already dead before I got there. It wasn't like I was hanging out in the ship for a while he was killing everybody.
That's a good strategy, though.
No, my guy was useless. He was getting bodied. Like the very first point you get there, you're fighting just all Starboard, and I swear he was down the entire fight, and I'm like, they're just pew, pew, pew.
Companions do nothing in this game. They do nothing. They just walk around.
Jake, I gotta be 100% honest with you. The entire game I rolled with 0 companions, and it was the best thing ever. Unless I had to, because there were some missions where you had to.
There were multiple times in this game where I would lose my mind. I'm flying on my ship, and a mission's starting in my ship, and I'm talking to someone ship to ship, and Sam Cole goes, hey, you don't mind, really talk to you.
Yeah, it's like I really
I'm like, dude, I'm in a dogfight right now, man. Or his daughter's like, I could really use some new books. I'm like, we're fighting pirates. Shut up, kid.
Yeah, when you got a moment, it's like you're just fighting like a whole army. It's like, hey, when you got a moment, it's like, no, I don't have a moment.
Okay, so we're talking spoilers. So there's the mission where you have to choose who to save. You have to either go to the eye or you have to stay on the ground and fight the Starborn on the ground, right?
Right.
You stayed, right?
Yeah, I stayed. Did you guys all stay, or did anyone go to the eye?
I stayed. Yes, I stayed.
Okay, so you kind of choose who you save in that moment.
Yeah.
But literally during that fight, as like Barrett has died, Barrett is dead on the ground, and we're like all so sad that Barrett's dead. One of the companions goes like, "Hey, you don't mind talking to me for a second in a really bit, like in a quick bit?" I'm like, "We're like talking about the dead guy, and you're like talking to me about your like family quest." It's just so bizarre.
Or then it's like, hey, when you do talk to them, it's like they just start pouring their heart out. It's like, yeah, hey, I really lost someone. It's like, why are you dumping this on me?
Yeah, why are you talking about this now?
Yeah, I encountered that as well. I really hate, like, your companions give you stuff. That's dumb. We talked about it last time. But also there are times when your companions really want to like unload on you and have a little therapy sesh, and you have to go through that in order to ask them to leave.
Yes.
Which is hilarious if you think about it.
Sam Cole was talking about his divorce and his wife, and then I was like, I really don't want to travel with you anymore. And he's like, oh, okay, let me know when you do.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's quite silly. So I kept my companion around the entire time solely because I didn't want to deal with that. I was like, whatever, like, I don't give a shit.
So I rolled solo.
So wonderful. And you did pick that perk thing in the very beginning.
Yeah, I did. So it was a pain when you were forced to like have a companion for some missions, and it just ruins that perk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a true Lone Ranger like you could have in Fallout. So,
yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
All right, you go through the Unity, Ted. What's the Unity? What happens when you walk through this big bad portal?
Yeah, so you collect all the artifacts, which builds a Stargate, which you then walk through, which then in terms of the game, you are going to a new dimension, a one-way trip to a brand new dimension.
I have a question for you, just a sci-fi question.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what Stargate SG-1 is? Is like one of these kind of things that you walk through and go through different? Is that what Stargate's about?
The whole premise of Stargate is they find a teleporter, an intergalactic teleporter, and they just pop out on the other side, and there's aliens. And yeah, all the other aliens know about it, and they're using them. It's their freeways, but Earth's kind of new to the game. Yeah.
All right, just like Mass Effect. Okay, cool.
Yeah, not a bad show.
All right.
So anyway, so in terms of the game, it is prestiging. It is you jump through to a brand new universe. You get a cool costume and a decked out spaceship. Mm-hmm. It's not explained why necessarily. You just do. You pop out the other side.
That's the Starborn spaceship. I'm seeing the whole game.
Yeah. Yes. Right. But why do you get it?
No idea. No, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Doesn't explain that part.
It comes with
there's a whole like who there's a whole like who built the artifacts? Is it aliens? Could it be aliens? None of that's explained. But you pop out the other side, and you are in a slightly different version of the universe that you are in. You pick up right where the game begins, more or less, and you are then free to play the game again.
Yes.
You are zeroed out.
But you have all your levels. You have all your levels.
Oh, yeah, correct.
All your stats, all your perks. Did you guys go back to the lodge after this?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, what did you do, Ted?
Nothing. What do you mean?
Nothing?
Like when you talked.
What did you do when you talked to the people? Yeah. What did you do?
For me, I went back to the lodge, and there was this whole dialogue thing of like, "Hey, I know you guys," and then there was this option of like redo the story mission or just skip it.
Yep.
And I just clicked skip it.
Good.
And then they were just like, "Cool." And then
that one guy was like, "This is totally like made up."
One guy's like, "I don't fucking believe this."
Oh, really? I didn't.
And then you walk over to him and you just go, "No, I really am." And he's like, "Oh, all right."
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, you're right."
Yeah. And then you get all of your artifact quests from before, and then you are free to play the game again.
Yeah. So apparently, none of us did this, but the more times that you this game, stuff is different. At least when you go to the lodge, like the reality is different. One time, Walter Stroud can be there with a bunch of Starborn. He's obviously ascended, and he's after the artifacts again. Another time, Cora, Sam's daughter, can also be there. So I guess there's things that change, but I don't know how much of the game around it changes.
Yeah.
I kind of predicted it was going to be a time loop once everyone's like, yo, the way this thing, you get pluses. Yeah. So what I thought was going to happen, though, is that you were going to go through and all of the people were going to be random. Mm-hmm. And I was so disappointed that it wasn't. Like, how cool would it be Sam is now the leader of the pirates?
Right.
You know, and you're going to go do the Crimson Dawn quest. Yeah, but who'd you do it with? Like, who was the Crimson Dawn leader?
Right.
Wasn't that?
Delgado.
Delgado.
That's his name.
Is that his name?
That's actually his name. King of the Pirates is named Delgado.
Well, there it is.
Yeah.
You meet him in a story mission, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's
Kill
more
him.
quests with that guy.
Or I
Yes.
killed him twice.
Yep.
Yeah. You kill him. You can go back and kill him again.
I killed him again because I had to like escape that little like when
Dream
you like when
sequence.
you go in between realities. Yeah. Okay. That mission where you're getting that one artifact in that station, and you're like going in between realities, like different realities.
The Titanfall 2 level.
Yeah. Where one guy is alive in this reality and he's not. That was pretty cool. Like I thought that was a pretty intricate mission.
That was very cool. It was one of those things that were like Ted just said though. I was like, oh, it's Titanfall 2. Like I'm just like going through two realities, but it was a little different. But it did give me that same kind of vibe.
I actually did in like that mission a lot as a set piece. And you got to kind of choose which reality at the end.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was definitely neat and definitely one of the better quests.
You can save that dude, and he can become a companion. The guy that you're working with. I looked it up.
Can you like save him and get back to your own reality? Or oh, really? I didn't know.
I didn't know that.
You can like, there's like a special pattern that you have to do on like the little switches and dials at the end of it, at the end of the mission, and then it like basically converges both realities.
Oh,
so he's like, I'm gonna go back to New Atlantis if you want me to fly in your ship. And you're like,
oh, nice. I didn't know that. Yeah, I told him to go away. And then I left him in his
to die.
So yeah,
as it collapsed upon him.
Yeah, I did like that quest, but yeah, this game is about the multiverse, sort of. They have integrated their New Game Plus in. I don't know. I don't think this may have been really cool on paper, and I'll talk more about this kind of in our final thoughts. But it kind of fell flat to me. Of like, I popped out in the new world. Nothing was really different that I could spot. You know, it wasn't like everybody's like a frog person now, or like Jake said, like everybody's role is now mixed up. It wasn't crazy.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. And I started wandering around doing a couple quests. And I was like, oh, I really like the spaceship builder. Maybe I'll, build a spaceship. Oh, right.
All right.
I don't have any
All
money.
my stuff is gone. Yep.
Oh, right. Like, and then, I was like, okay, maybe I'll like build, save up some money. And then I looked at the stats and I'm like, well, this ship's kind of the best ship, objectively speaking. Like if you go to the shipbuilder and look at like the best reactor, it's the same as the Starborn ship. Like, okay, don't need to do that. And it all just kind of petered out at that point. That's where I kind of put the controller down and I was like, okay, I think I'm done.
Yeah, it's like if I want to play more of the same, it's like, well, I have to go back and get some weapons and kind of like go back to doing what I had. I had like a laser build. At first I was going to do like a melee build and then I just scrapped that immediately because it was pointless. So I went like a laser sniper. Amazing build. Really, really fun. And then my ship, I had a certain build too with like laser systems. So I'd have to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what was funny? So at the end you have to get to the end planet, right?
Yeah.
And it tells you it's like, oh, you need this like certain engine or something like that. But it doesn't tell you need this certain fuel. So I didn't have enough fuel to make the last jump to the planet. I'm doing this. I'm doing this like 20-piece like jump to get to it, and then I can't get to it. So I have to go back in the 20-piece, upgrade my fuel tank, and then go back and do it. It was the dumbest thing ever.
Jump from the second to last planet to the last planet of the final mission. I believe it's 18 light years, which your stock ship starts at 15. Yes. So if you haven't been paying attention to your ship, you are just locked out of that. Which is you just go back to a shipbuilder. Upgrade
it wasn't even my stock ship. I had like a newer ship, but it just didn't have the fuel capacity.
Yeah, and it was like a weird hang up of like, oh, were you paying attention to your shipbuilder? It's like, no, I wasn't.
No,
whoops,
because you never told me to do it.
Yeah,
but even if you were like, let's say you were doing like a ship, you weren't doing a ship build like at all. Like you just stuck with the base ship the entire time. You did some upgrades. You still have to fight like some dudes at the end. And if you don't have anything, you're screwed. So you have to like go back and upgrade your ship and then eventually fight them.
Yeah, I heard people ran into that problem where they like got to that space battle and they were like, "Well, this is like a wall."
You'd be screwed.
Yeah, because
luckily I was like I had like some
ship.
stats and shipbuilding. But if you were like, I'm not gonna do shipbuilding the entire playthrough, and you're screwed.
Yeah.
So you would have hit a wall and had to like go back and level it up.
Yeah, I was pretty.
We always talk about the leveling, and I hated the leveling the entire time because you have to put points into the level to level it.
I know.
So like, let's say if you decide you want to do shipbuilding at the very end, oh well, guess what? You have to go and destroy like 15 ships to level up, like and unlock a better ship.
I forget what it is, but the jump points, there's like one where you have to like your perk levels up by jumping to different places, and I needed that level. So at the end of the game,
Astrodynamics or something like that.
I think that's what it was. At the end of the game, I needed that level to get one of the reactors, and so what I did was like for just 10 minutes, I just jumped, and I was like, all right, I did it.
Never again. Like that. Go back to the old system where
Go back to Skyrim.
I get to choose whatever I want to do.
What
or
you do
Skyrim, where you just
levels
level
up.
up everything.
Yeah, I don't understand their decision to negate the tiers of your perk behind level points. Like, it would have been really nice to just, all right, I have ballistics. Now, as long as I'm using ballistics, I'm leveling that up.
Yeah.
Kind of a natural thing. And then my levels, which maybe I don't get as much, will go towards like unlocking just whole new facets for me to play. But the fact that it's like, all right, you know, I have leveled up my gun or my pistol to max and it's just waiting. And as soon as I level up, I just put that next point, and you're like, this just, you know, it feels like busy work. It's kind of it didn't matter to me so much later in the game because I had the things that I knew I was committing to, I was into, and it was like, you know, shoot 100 people with a pistol. And I was like, all right, this is going to take some time, so it's fine. I can put my point that I get into speechcraft or something else. But the beginning half of the game, I was definitely just, as soon as I got a level, it was like, all right, go into the thing, because I've blown up 5 ships, so now I can just,
Just so weird. It's just like such a weird choice.
Yeah.
I wanna do our final thoughts with Starfield. Are we there? Final thoughts, Starfield. Can we do this, Ted? I want you to just. Do you want to start? Or you want to end? You had final thoughts prepared.
I do have final thoughts. I'll end if you guys want to go first.
Sure. I don't mind going first, James. Is that all right with you?
Go ahead.
No, I liked Starfield in the beginning. I liked Bethesda in space. I then realized,
I fully agree.
I think I then realized that I'm ready for Bethesda to make new games and not give me the same experience with a new color, a slap of paint on it. And like we were saying, like when I reached those temples, I was like, oh, this is the shouts. This is the version of the shouts that, okay. Like nothing felt new except for like, to me, like the shipbuilder felt new. Like you're giving me a base I get to build, moves around, it's clunky, there's ladders everywhere, but it's fun. And I think then that kind of even petered out. And so like for me, like Bethesda has made a game that like has a lot of highs in the beginning, even though it's confusing as shit. And then it kind of starts to peter. And I don't feel like the game is like I'm experiencing a world. We talked about this a lot, but I don't feel like I'm experiencing a world. I feel like I'm at an amusement park. And where I am playing Cyberpunk now, I feel like I'm in a world. And
we'll get to that.
We're going to get to that. But like that for me is like playing Cyberpunk and I was like, this is what I was missing. This is what I wanted that experience to be. Was me in space. And I was like, but it wasn't. It was Skyrim in space.
Yeah, to me, it felt like a loading screen fast travel simulator, especially towards the end.
Didn't even say that. Yeah, you're right.
And it's so tedious, like the things you have to do to actually get to like some content. Or it's like, hey, you know, you can fast travel and you can land anywhere on this planet, but sometimes your landing area is like hundreds and hundreds of meters away from where you have to be. And so like, okay, you have this cute little, like, I'm going to jump and fly over there. And it's going to take me like another 10 minutes just to get to the fucking mission. Like, holy shit, is that tedious? Whereas like Fallout is like, hey, I'm just going to walk around. Oh, boom. Like something just popped up. I got something like, oh, I can just quickly go over here. Boom. Right in that instant action, fast travel in, I'm there. This isn't like that. It's like, oh, I got to watch my ship land for 30 minutes. And then I got to get out of my ship. And then I got to walk over. Like, holy shit, is that annoying? And then the next... Oh, God.
No, but you're making a point. The thing that I think we were going to say is, like, it's a game that took out exploration. That's what you're saying. It's like, it's a Bethesda game that took out the exploration.
Yeah, if I could fly my ship around the planet, that'd be great. I'd park closer to the mission. Yeah. But holy... You have to at least predetermine, like, landing spots. And it's like, I try to do some, like even, like, exploration on some of the planets. And it's like... It's just worse No Man's Sky. Like, you just go around, it's like looking around with your scanner, and it's like, okay, and then I'm just going to scan this and then mine something. And then you sit on all this material. I had the max weight that you can handle, like that fully maxed out and everything. And I still was over encumbered like so many times. I had like the max on my ship, so I could store all this material that I never used. It was just awful. Like towards the end, I just started selling everything.
James, I don't mean to interject, but I do have a question that I forgot. Did you ever get into the base building?
No, I didn't even bother.
Okay.
Yeah, I was like, I could spend a lot of time doing this base building, or I could just new game, and I just new game.
Yeah.
And now I can't even do it because I new game.
Because you all saw your stuff.
Yep.
You had all the materials to do it.
Yeah, I could have done something with it, but then I know if I'm gonna new game, like it's all pointless.
Yeah.
Right.
This is just
Which I
annoying.
think, let's talk about that, because that kind of ruins the game if you think about it. Like this new game plus isn't like new game pluses in, let's say, Witcher. Witcher has a fantastic new game where you keep all your stuff and you keep going. Like, oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I don't get why you don't keep.
But
your
you
stuff
keep like
here.
all your weapons and everything in Witcher, right?
Yep,
You
everything.
just run into the next
everything.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
so
level
cool.
everything. It's awesome, and everything scales, and it's beautiful. Okay.
And apparently nothing scales in Starfield.
Oh, so I'm gonna go and like just own everyone at like level.
Well, and like XP is a real problem. So like once you get up there,
Oh.
like missions are still scaling to back like when you were level 10.
Yeah, I'm so yeah. Final thoughts. I'm done.
Yeah, right, that's a great final thought.
Put that on the box. Final thoughts.
Stamped.
I'm done.
This will probably be 6th or 7th on my list for the end of the year. We'll see.
I don't think this will make my top 10.
Wow.
Theodore,
Me.
Stogie, Libby.
Final
Pitch it to
thoughts.
me.
Well,
Final thoughts.
okay. So I wholeheartedly agree with both of you. But like, so I still enjoyed the idea of Starfield, like what they were pitching me at the beginning. And I said this, 3 shows ago. The idea of like you get a little personal spaceship and a little personal crew, and you fly around the galaxy, kind of doing oddball Bethesda quests. That was still fun for me. I still like it, just in terms of the role playing. Like I still had a lot of fun in this science fiction world.
Yeah,
I like this world a lot. I would love to know more about it. And even the main quest, which this is spoiler territory, right? Like, I really liked the multiverse idea.
Yeah.
Like if when the 2 guys first come to meet you, clearly a good guy, clearly a bad guy, an angel and demon, show up and they're just like, hey, we're part of this like weird cult that we figured out how to zip to other dimensions, and we want to bring you in on this too. I thought that was rad. My brain just exploded of like, going back to Rick and Morty, like, do they have a council of Ricks? Is this where like all the Barretts, because the emissary is whoever died.
Yeah, so it's not always
in that
Barrett.
cutscene.
Yeah,
it's whoever died in that cutscene. But I was like, oh, do they all gather together and hang out? Like, is this like a squad of people, kind of like a council of Ricks? Are they aliens? Like, my brain was going off on all what this could be. And the answer to that was nothing. This game's answer to the multiverse is just a prestige mode, which maybe was good on paper, but my ultimate takeaway about the new game plus is like it makes everything pointless.
Yeah.
Like, why upgrade your ship?
Right.
When we know, like, at the very end of the game, it tells you like, hey, your new objective here is to fly around, gather the artifacts again, and then do this again. And so everything that you have been doing, base building, ship building, resource gathering, money collecting, out the window. Doesn't matter. James, to your point about being over encumbered, at a certain point, granted, I was like 35, 40 hours in, but 3/4 of my way through my playthrough, I just abandoned everything. I sold all of my misc items, all of my resources, everything that I didn't want actively on my character, just sold it. Whatever I picked up, sold it. Didn't care. So when
Which sucks.
When I went through the Unity, it didn't matter because I chose to not care about most of the game. And I think that's like the core problem of Starfield is they put all of these different ideas together into a game, and some of them mesh better than others. And then they tell you it doesn't matter. And I think that is my biggest core flaw of this game, is just that like none of it
really matters.
They try and tell you that it matters, sort of. They don't like tutorialize it necessarily, but they, it's implied that you're playing this video game, this stuff matters, and then it doesn't. You don't need base building. You can play the game without it. It's just there if you want it.
For no reason, by the way. What do you do?
I don't know.
Get more material?
Do
more base building?
Yeah. I don't know it was never explained to me what you get at the end. Because I was going back and forth with my roommate, who is also in this Starfield's dumb because nothing matters. but we were talking about the base building. I was like, it would be really cool if I could make a base that is auto-generating resources, which turns into ammo, and so all I have to do is land at my base, and boom, all my weapons stacked.
So cool.
I have no idea if that's ultimately what happens. I went into the first tier and then realized the amount of talent points that I would have to select in order to get to like an end game for the base building. And I was like, that's way too much dedication. At this point, I already know there's some kind of prestige mode.
Right.
I'm not touching it.
Yeah.
I think this game could have been a whole bunch of other things, but what it ended up as, I don't think structurally is very solid, is very good.
That's beautiful. I like the way you put that.
Yeah.
I have a question before we move on about Bethesda. Maybe this is just our whole episode. It's Bethesda. If Skyrim 6, what is it, Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be the next one? So we're going to call it Skyrim 2 for the sake of argument. It's not. I know it's going to have some fucking crazy name. So in the comments, don't be like, it won't be called Skyrim 2. We know. If it's just this in another world that looks slightly better, and you go to talk to somebody, it goes, hello, friend. Or is that, like, if I saw that as a demo, I would be like, nah, you know what? I'm not going to play this game. Like, I would not play Elder Scrolls 6 if it's like, I don't know, how does that, like, is that the style of game that we want to keep seeing Bethesda just make? Where, like, it's Cyberpunk. You watch people have full conversations in Cyberpunk, and it's, like, interesting. And then you, like,
yeah, I hate to say it, but the answer is yes. I will still play it. Mainly because, you know, there are a few things that I can be guaranteed with a Skyrim 2. James's biggest issue of like, you don't explore anymore, you just fast travel. Hopefully, you know, Skyrim 2, Elder Scrolls 6 will be more of just say, you need to get from point A to point B. Yeah. And look, there's a cave and there's a bandit camp. Maybe there's something going on.
You're going to fly on a dragon, Ted.
Oh, God. Yeah, you're probably right.
Yep. Fast travel on a dragon.
If they turn this base building into something useful and interesting and really like integrate that into the main kind of, you know, flow of the game, yeah, I'd be in for a Skyrim, you know, a game similar to this. But I see your point, and I totally agree with you that like it's time for Bethesda to make some serious mechanical upgrades,
like
technical.
How they tell a story needs to change to fit how stories are told.
Yeah.
You know, in Witcher 3, there's a moment where Ciri like talks about her travels because the dimensions, and she like references Cyberpunk.
Yeah, it's so cool.
They're gonna let's say if they do that in Elder Scrolls, like if they reference Starfield or the Unity, that would be kind of cool.
Pretty cool.
Like if someone like,
I know. There was a beautiful internet meme / joke of the final cutscene of you flying through the Unity, much like my background.
Oh yeah.
And then it just blacks out into the opening of Skyrim.
Yeah.
If that happened, that would have been a much better game than me. I would have lost my mind. I'm playing Skyrim now?
That'd be the best ending ever.
I'd be like, guys, I'm 35 hours into Skyrim Starfield, and it's fucking crazy.
Like, that would have been a cheeky, funny ending,
Hilarious.
And I think it would have...
It would have been awesome. You just got to play like Skyrim.
Yeah. But James, would you play Elder Scrolls 6 if it looked like this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm like kind of over how... After this and after Fallout 4, I know other people really love Fallout 4, and it was great. It was fine.
Fallout 76?
I don't even know what that is. But like, I personally am like so much more into it, how Cyberpunk is telling me a story through the same kind of first-person RPG. But like, I hope, like, it'd be so much cooler if I'm in Elder Scrolls and I'm sitting down at a war table and people are walking back and forth and I'm going like this, watching these soldiers talk to each other rather than like, hello everyone, I am the leader. It's like, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just where I'm at.
Yes, and this is a great transition into Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Because, you know, at the end of the day, Starfield feels very much like a last generation game, and I don't think Bethesda can get away with that anymore. They've done it.
Right.
I've done it 2 times, really. I guess 3 times technically, of making like a very, very like last generation of games. New Cyberpunk comes out, Cyberpunk 2.0, the free update. Boy, is this a next generation game? And I can't believe that I'm saying this.
Yes.
I can't believe that James was right.
Yes.
Just took a while.
Cyberpunk 2077 is 2.0 Phantom Liberty is a fucking phenomenal video game.
Yeah.
It is like
who would have thought?
Who would have thought? I wanted to tell you this. Our first podcast about Cyberpunk 2077, we're on episode 147, was episode 39. I listened to our podcast today.
3 or so years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago, pretty much. Which is wild.
If only they waited 3 more years.
I get it. Like, this is what you were seeing when I'm playing on my PS5, James. This is what you were seeing on your fucking 3080 or whatever you had at the time. Where it's like, oh my god, there's like stuff coming through smoke and fog, and there's more than 8 people on a street, and man, is it awesome to not be playing on a Series X or Series S. Like, PS5 version, man, is like
Nice.
Xbox Series X version also quite amazing. Yeah. I think we're all playing on all 3 systems.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you playing it now, James, too? Are you playing Cyberpunk?
No.
Not yet.
Okay.
Are you going to play it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just finished Starfield. I just finished RE4 DLC. And
we're going to talk about that next week, yeah. I want to hear about separate ways. I'm just so in. We don't have to talk a lot about it, but I'm just like so impressed with how they've revamped stuff. I was listening, because I didn't really remember, like, okay, what were our things that we didn't like about Cyberpunk besides, like, bugs? Because obviously, and the way I've started our podcast, episode 39 was like, well, I did, like, start my game, just load it up, and I was inside another man's body, like, in a car, and, like, seeing his eyeballs move, and it was horrifying. And I was like, so there are bugs. But they were talking about, like, we were talking about how bad the stealth was, which the stealth is great now. It has been, like, really improved. So, like, all of these things that they've done to fix it, and I'm playing as, like, a cyber ninja, where I'm just, like, got my fucking katana that can block bullets, and I sneak around and hack into stuff. I'm like, nailing it.
Jake, you haven't seen the Edgerunners, have you?
No, I need to watch it. I started one episode. And
yeah, you need to watch it because, well, actually, if you watch the first episode, it does mention it, but there's something they added to the game from the show, which is, I think, is going to, like, people, if people get it and go this build and use it, it's gonna be awesome. It makes the game like so much better.
Oh, okay, I'll watch it.
We'll talk about it. Yeah, what's you?
Once I see it.
Ted, have you seen the show at all?
No, but it is now on my list to watch. I recently watched Ghost in the Shell.
Oh yeah,
getting me hyped up for Cyberpunk.
The Scarlett Johansson version or the anime?
The original, the anime. Good. That's a weird movie. We'll talk about that another time. But Cyberpunk's pretty cool,
dude. Yeah, what do you think about this thing? What do you think about this thing? Playing this game?
I'm playing this game. So I played it originally for our podcast, and I don't remember a lot about it. So I went back, started a new character, played a different prologue. Yeah, and I am pretty much where I left off.
What life path did you choose?
I'm a street kid.
But I am too.
Nice. Good.
Yeah. I had picked a corpo before, which I really liked, but I didn't want to see the same cutscenes that I remembered.
I kind of forgot that the life paths were like different, and I like started the game and played like 2 hours, and I was like, I should have played a different life path, but I'm already here, so.
Yeah. In my opinion, the street kid's one of the better ones.
That's what I've heard.
Mostly because your partner, what's his name?
Jackie,
yeah. He's like the same character in all 3, so it's weird to be a corporate.
I was going to ask that. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, okay.
But you also have like a dirtbag friend.
It's
a little weird,
gangster friend of yours.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little strange. It's fine. It's a good prologue.
Yeah, so Street Kid makes a lot of sense as him. Yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah. No, what a good time for this game to come out. Playing 61 hours of Starfield.
Shit.
I spent a lot of time in the ship.
That's a lot of Starfield.
I confided to my roommates. I was like, I think I need to just buy a Lego set because I just like tinkering
ships.
Yeah, I just like building little spaceships. But no, coming away from that, and like I said, very much like a last generation game, and then moving into Cyberpunk, good Cyberpunk, fucking stunning.
Yeah,
just wild. Just teeny little things that you don't think about in video games, like how your character, if you're close to cover, like a wall, or you'll kind of move. You'll duck behind it, and your camera and you like, so it just naturally feels like you're poking your head out of cover to shoot somebody. Wild compared to Starfield's just I'm up at the wall. It's
what blew my mind, going from Starfield to Cyberpunk, just in like the subtle like thing you're talking about, how your character moves. When you walk, there's like a shake to the camera in Cyberpunk a little bit, like you're walking. In Starfield, it's a steady cam. It never once moves. And you look down and you have no feet in Starfield. There's no body. In Cyberpunk, you look down, you can see your body. Right. And I was like, and like how you sprint, like it moves you around a little bit. We're like, Starfield, it's a steady cam that never really shakes like that unless you're getting shot at or something.
Totally.
Yeah, I just think that like for me that was like, wow, this game already just feels like like I'm in a world rather than I'm at an amusement park. Like,
Right.
and that's how Cyberpunk feels.
And to your point, a classic Bethesda game fashion, you walk into a town and every major character or NPC, I should say, excuse me, is doing what they're supposed to do. They're all standing at their booths. Maybe there's somebody sitting. Yeah, there's somebody sitting at their bar. It's Westworld, exactly. Or there's a security guard standing there. That's a Bethesda game. You play Cyberpunk, and there are just people living their lives. They're walking into alleyways. They're buying stuff from shops. They're having conversations. And like to your point, you just feel like you are in a world.
Yeah.
In a way that you do not feel in previous generation games. It is very cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really special. And starting Phantom Liberty, man, it's really, really interesting. I'm impressed.
So, are you playing the actual DLC?
Yeah, so now I am. So I've played so there's like multiple acts in the game, and I kind of read online. So you can start the DLC anytime during Act 2. You'll basically get like a text message that's just like, yo, head on over here and let's start the DLC is basically what it says.
Yeah.
And I read online, it was like, you should wait till Act 3 to start the DLC because like your character relationships will be really awkward going into the DLC if like where you are with Johnny Silverhand, Keanu Reeves in Act 2 is very different than Act 3. It's like starting Act 3 and then going into this, I was like, okay, I understand why they want you to like build up your progression a little with these characters. So that would be my recommendation. Is play the second act before you start it. But
I think I'm gonna play the first 2 acts before I even buy it because I just can.
Yeah.
I never played Cyberpunk before, and I'm having a fun time with it.
I know there's something that will lock you out eventually of the DLC, so you might just want it.
Okay, yeah, and there's also some upgrade stuff from it, so you probably do need to grab the DLC soon.
Yeah, but yeah, it's really interesting. You just go over to like basically there's like a new part of town, Dogtown, and that's kind of where the DLC starts. And it's from what I have heard and just the first mission, it's got a very like espionage, Mission Impossible-y kind of vibe to it, and it's awesome. For me about Cyberpunk, man, I'm so impressed by Keanu Reeves in the game. It's a little distracting when he comes on, but I'm like kind of in now anytime it's Johnny Silverhand. But he's like a really great character. And like the idea of like how he and your character V are like connected, it's just so smart and so interesting. And like, I really appreciate the storytelling and how they're doing it. I'm amazed at I love Cyberpunk. I'm amazed because I've just wanted to talk shit about this game for 3 years. Yeah. But it's
yeah, I'm really liking it too. I have learned, I don't have epilepsy or anything, but I have learned that like there are games that like feel very nice and like on the eyes, like a Zen game, like a Zen gaming, very chill, very like, oh, this is nice. And Cyberpunk is the fucking opposite.
Yeah.
It is very heavy on the eyes, a lot of reds, lot of information when you hit that scan button. So I have been kind of playing this game in little piecemeal because it's just like a lot to take in all at once. But I'm having a heck of a time with it.
Yeah.
And I'm happy for them, really. My question to you guys, Cyberpunk is a game that had to release, came out in a shitty state. It was a buggy mess. And then they stuck around, they fixed it. Do you guys think moving forward, we're going to start seeing games that kind of have to release? Do you think like we're now in an era, we've like moved into this era of like launch day is not the best time to play a game, maybe if there's an early access period, launch is a good time, but like for AAA, quadruple A, like if you didn't touch Cyberpunk and you're coming to it now, you're gonna have a great time.
This is the best time to play Cyberpunk. It's better. This is the best time to play skill trees reworked everything. It makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're in a weird state where like we talked a lot about last week, the day and date numbers and like how important that is with Game Pass and like what that drives subscriptions. Day and date is such an important thing in the video game industry because once you lose your momentum, you're screwed. It's like the only reason Cyberpunk and No Man's Sky also did the same thing, basically, was fix their game, is because they had so much bad press about how bad the initial game was or how off the initial game was. I think that's why they've been given this life to fix it. I don't think most games would have been given this life to fix it.
Right.
But also, they had the serious bankroll to fix it. They did not suffer any consequences from releasing a shitty game, but at least they pulled through and have now actually released probably the game they intended.
Yeah, didn't they? They made a profit in like 2 hours, I think, right?
And No Man's Sky did the same thing, like where they released a shitty game, but eventually made it good.
Mhm.
So
Like,
I
my
don't know what that teaches.
follow-up question is, do you think, I guess it's a two-parter, do you think the devs will continue to work on Starfield? And this might be a broader
Yes.
question about Xbox, but do you think they'll keep working on it? And my other question, do you think there might be, like, a weird Starfield resurgence of like, "No, no, no, Starfield 2.0 is pretty rad, you guys."
Once the mod kit comes out or they release that, then that'll be a resurgence.
Let's leave out community driven, 'cause you're right, that will probably fix a lot of
Yes, you'll
issues,
get
but I mean, like,
one.
from the devs.
You're gonna get one DLC pack for
One
Starfield,
DLC, that's it.
Okay.
and then
Yeah,
One
but
DLC.
and once that comes out, they won't work on Starfield anymore. That's just put too
yeah,
much time into it, and Xbox is
yeah,
gonna move them on as fast as human.
They need
gotcha.
to get up on something else.
Yeah.
One DLC is what they promise.
It's amazing with Cyberpunk how a corporation made them send out a shitty version of this game,
Yes.
and the whole game, themes and everything, is about how corporations ruin everything. They're
Yeah.
going
Yep.
after humans next, and literally the corporation made them shit out a bad product that they've made great. It's just so interesting. Like,
Yeah.
there's the theme of your game. Your game is all
Yeah.
about just capitalism, corporation shit. It's just really interesting.
Pretty ironic.
Yeah.
Ted, I think that you will see games forever now going forward because of the internet release either like not like Cyberpunk as off the market queue of like we've only developed it for PC and now it's also got to be on other stuff, but like you'll see like with Halo, where like in 3 months you're gonna get co-op, and in 4 months you're gonna get this, but right now the game's not ready for all those things yet.
Right.
Yeah, I think you're gonna get a lot of that going forward. It's
Yeah.
like new Assassin's Creed comes out, but like there's no arena for X amount of days, or it's like stuff like that.
Right.
I think that's how you're gonna get it. It's like stuff is
Yeah,
still being
interesting.
developed after it comes out, like other parts of
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah. I'm happy for them. It's wild to me. I go back and forth on Cyberpunk genre. I think it's either incredible or it can be like over the top in a lot.
Yeah,
See my previous comment about a lot of flashing lights all at once. You go into VR in that tutorial bit, and it's like they blast
Well,
your retinas in
you
real
walk
life
around
too.
and everything is just an orgasm sound. It's just people
Yeah,
having orgasms all around you.
yeah.
That's
It's
all
definitely
Cyberpunk is.
it's definitely a lot. But they stuck with it, and it's pretty fascinating. I would love to see some market research on this event of like they stuck with it. They put a lot more money into it. To James's point, all the money that people bought on originally, and they made a good game.
Yeah, like a great game.
I
Yeah.
so this is a bit of a tangent, but I bought Cyberpunk release day Steelbox because it was $10 at Best
Yeah.
Buy because they were like, just please get
Please
it off
take
our
it.
shelves. Please get it off. Literally, I went up and I was like, hey, I was like, I'm here for the Cyberpunk. And he was like, yeah, do you want this box cover or this box cover? We're not supposed I don't give a shit. You pick, you take it. And I was like, I'll take that one. That was $10 on launch. This was like less than a month after launch. It was so December of that year. And now I have a great game.
Right, and you didn't have to pay
Yeah.
$30 for it because it was $10. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So
Yeah.
cool.
That was worth more.
Yeah. I mean, installing a disc on Xbox was a pain in the ass. Let me tell you. I'm having a lot of bad luck with disc consoles this year. Spider-Man didn't work. Cyberpunk
Yeah.
almost didn't work. It was rough. But
We're in a digital future, Ted.
we are in a digital future.
Did
We're
Last of
gonna
Us ever work?
jack in.
We played
yeah,
Last
yeah.
of Us?
It was on the list, but now Cyberpunk's out. I don't know.
You should play Last of Us.
I should play Last of Us. It is on my. I will get played. Probably. It will.
Thank you so much for watching the 147th episode of the Sidescape Gaming Podcast. My name is Jake, that's James, and that's Ted. And we will see you next week. We promise.